The trade tariffs implemented by U.S. President Donald Trump remain one of the most discussed issues on the global stage. As you may know, Trump decided to impose tariffs of 25% on imports from Canada and Mexico, as well as tariffs ranging from 10% to 60% on China. However, Trump later suspended the tariffs on Canada and Mexico. The U.S. had set a self-imposed deadline to introduce these tariffs, and as time progressed, tensions grew. Trump has repeatedly stated that the tariffs on these countries were a result of the unfair treatment the U.S. had been subjected to by many nations, not just Canada and Mexico. Recently, President Trump signed off on tariffs targeting imports from Canada, Mexico, and China. The situation with Canada remains uncertain, but it's anticipated that Canadians will face only half of the projected tariff burden. These tariffs are slated to take effect on March 4th, a date Trump has mentioned several times in recent weeks. As the date approaches, concerns have been growing, particularly in Canada. In response, the Canadian government has turned to the European Union and China to mitigate the potential impact of U.S. tariffs. Canadian officials are said to have updated their plans to send some resources, including liquefied natural gas, to China. However, Canada's primary focus seems to be strengthening ties with Europe rather than pursuing trade with the United States. In recent times, Canada and Italy have often been mentioned in the same breath, with experts suggesting that the two nations are recalibrating their economic relationships. Economic analysts have noted that even the European Union is surprised by the depth of Canada's growing ties with Italy. This has led to questions. Did Canada prioritize Italy over the United States? What is the current state of trade relations between Canada and Italy? And what strategies is Canada employing in its dealings with Italy to circumvent U.S. tariffs? Before we dive deeper into these questions, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, turn on notifications, and give us a thumbs up to stay informed with our latest content, all at no cost to you. Now let's get back to the main discussion. It's important to highlight that Italy has already established a strong presence in the Canadian market. Italy is particularly focused on the food sector, where it positions itself as a potential alternative supplier if the U.S. imposes trade restrictions, and Canada retaliates with its own tariffs against the U.S. By examining Canada's food imports from different countries, we see that Italian agricultural products hold a significant place in the Canadian market. After the U.S. and Mexico, Italy has surpassed France, with exports worth approximately $1.5 billion. Italy now ranks third in terms of trade with Canada, trailing only the U.S. and Mexico. In recent years, Italian exports to Canada have benefited from the Comprehensive Economic and Trade Agreement, CETA, which has lowered customs barriers on many Italian food products. In the event of trade restrictions between the U.S. and Canada, this agreement further strengthens Italy's position in the food sector. If Canada decides to diversify its suppliers to reduce dependence on the U.S., Italian-made products stand to gain significantly. In such a scenario, Canada could increase its market share while also positioning Italy as a dependable trading partner. The growing relationship between Italy and Canada holds the potential to offset the negative effects of U.S. tariffs. To see how this might play out, let's examine the trade dynamics between Italy and Canada in 2024. By analyzing the market shares of Italy and the U.S. in different sectors of the Canadian food industry, we can pinpoint areas where Italy could expand its presence if Canada were to impose tariffs on U.S. food imports. While Italy's share of exports in intermediate and unprocessed food products is relatively small, there are key opportunities in packaged food and beverages, where Italian export shares are on par with those of the U.S. Notable sectors where this is the case include alcoholic beverages, dairy products like milk, yogurt, and cheese, as well as oil, rice, and pasta. For example, examining the export trends for alcoholic beverages, we see that Italian exports to Canada have steadily increased since the Comprehensive Economic and Trade Agreement came into force in 2017. In the past 2 years, this growth has accelerated, reflecting the recognition of Italian wine's quality and value. This upward trend in Italian exports could present growth opportunities, especially in a global trade environment marked by growing instability due to Trump's tariff policies. With the right strategy, Italian businesses could capitalize on these shifting dynamics and strengthen their foothold in the Canadian market, seeing the protectionist policies of the U.S. as a potential opportunity. By leveraging the high international reputation of Italian products, Italian companies can diversify their export markets and reduce reliance on the U.S. Additionally, Italy could significantly enhance its diplomatic ties with Canada, further solidifying their mutual interests. A key element in this evolving relationship is the roadmap for enhanced cooperation between Italy and Canada. This framework aims to deepen collaboration on a range of issues of shared interest and showcases the commitment of both nations to working together to address global challenges. Promoting sustainable prosperity. global stability, and the rule of law are critical priorities for nations working together to advance a more equitable and secure world. In this spirit, the Group of Seven, G7 presidencies in 2024 and 2025 will play a pivotal role in guiding international efforts toward these shared objectives. Now, let's take a closer look at the balance of trade and investment between two nations with growing ties. Italy and Canada. Italy and Canada have cultivated a strong trade and investment relationship, underpinned by economies that complement one another. This relationship thrives on the contributions of small and medium-sized enterprises, SMEs, which play a crucial role in the prosperity of both nations. While the existing relationship is robust, there is significant room for even greater ambition and further growth in strategic sectors. Key areas where both countries stand to benefit from closer cooperation include critical minerals, semiconductors, aerospace, e-mobility, clean energy technologies, and life sciences. By exploring these sectors, Italy and Canada are positioning themselves to unlock substantial growth opportunities and deepen their trade and investment ties. A major part of this effort is the exchange of best practices and mutual information sharing, particularly between institutional investors. Both countries are also committed to strengthening the connections between SMEs, which are essential drivers of innovation and economic development. In November 2023, Canada launched the CDP Business Matchmaking Platform, a concrete initiative designed to facilitate direct connections between Italian and Canadian companies. This platform is an important step toward building stronger business relations and fostering deeper economic integration between the two countries. Italy and Canada also share a common vision for inclusive and sustainable economic growth, one that benefits all members of society. This shared commitment extends beyond their bilateral ties and includes strong partnerships with African nations. Together, Italy and Canada are exploring opportunities to advance the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, focusing on enhancing peace, development, and prosperity across the African continent. Their efforts align with actions to improve sustainable food systems, ensure access to quality education and healthcare, enhance energy security, and invest in both physical and digital infrastructure. These initiatives are in line with Italy's Mate Plan for Africa, an approach designed to support the continent's sustainable development and long-term economic growth. Further strengthening this cooperation, Italy and Canada are working together with their respective development finance institutions, such as CDP and FEI Canada, to deliver initiatives that promote private sector growth. For example, the €150 million lending facility provided to the West African Development Bank is one such initiative aimed at supporting businesses in the region. In the context of the G7, Italy and Canada continue to enhance their cooperation with other G7 development finance institutions, focusing on effective collaboration and strategic coordination to achieve collective goals. On the global security front, Italy and Canada stand side by side in their commitment to safeguarding international peace and stability. Both countries contribute to global security efforts, often through joint initiatives under the umbrella of the Canada-European Union (EU) relationship. They are actively working on joint activities in areas like cybersecurity and the climate security nexus. This includes ongoing cooperation between the Forward Land Forces Battle Group in Latvia and the NATO Climate Change and Security Center of Excellence in Montreal. Both Italy and Canada are increasing their collaboration to strengthen cybersecurity, setting high standards to protect consumers, businesses, and infrastructure. They are also working to shape international norms for responsible state behavior in cyberspace and enhancing cyber capacity building efforts. Additionally, Italy and Canada are engaged in the Group of Seven's Rapid Response Mechanism, which focuses on monitoring, analyzing, and countering artificial intelligence-driven threats, foreign information manipulation, and other security risks. Recognizing the growing transnational nature of these threats, Italy and Canada continue to share a strong security solidarity in combating organized crime. This partnership is exemplified by their Memorandum of Understanding between Italy's Ministry of the Interior and the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, as well as bilateral agreements on mutual legal assistance and extradition between their ministries of justice. Furthermore, both countries have reinforced their relationship through international organizations such as the United Nations, Interpol, and Europol, strengthening global policing and cooperation. When it comes to energy, Italy and Canada are aligned in their commitment to developing clean and renewable energy technologies. This alignment aims to promote energy security, strengthen trade cooperation, and advance shared goals on climate change, biodiversity, and environmental sustainability. Both countries are working together to meet the commitments agreed upon at the G7 ministerial meeting on climate, energy, and the environment in Torino, Italy. particularly in relation to maintaining the 1.5 degrees C global warming target and supporting the transition to clean energy. Italy and Canada are also collaborating on the Powering Past Coal Alliance, an initiative aimed at phasing out unabated coal power generation in energy systems worldwide by the mid-2030s. Critical minerals play a key role in this transition, and Italy is considering joining the Alliance for Sustainable Critical Minerals to further enhance bilateral cooperation in this field. Hydrogen is emerging as one of the most promising alternative fuels in the quest for net zero emissions. Both Italy and Canada are supporting a memorandum of understanding between their respective hydrogen associations, which will unlock market advantages in hydrogen energy and fuel cell technologies. In addition, both nations are advocating for the role of sustainable biofuels in decarbonizing hard-to-abate industries, such as aviation, maritime, and road transport. Italy and Canada continue to participate in several multilateral forums to promote sustainable energy solutions, such as the International Energy Agency, IEA, the Global Bioenergy Partnership, and the Clean Energy Ministerial. These efforts are part of a broader commitment to achieving the global clean energy transition. Looking ahead, the U.S. tariffs on Canada have created new opportunities for Italy to step in and strengthen its economic relations with Canada. This evolving dynamic holds the potential to enhance trade and investment between the two countries in the future, allowing Canada to avoid the negative effects of U.S. tax cuts set to take place in March. As a result, the bond between Italy and Canada is expected to grow even stronger in the coming years, fostering closer economic ties and more collaborative efforts. Thank you for taking the time to explore this important and evolving relationship between Italy and Canada. Their commitment to sustainable development, security, and global prosperity is shaping a brighter future for both nations and the world at large.